Kate!
What's up, Ava? I'm just getting home from working with the kids, so
Yes,
I'm a little disheveled, but I'm really grateful to be in the space with
I'm looking forward to taking a deep breath. We will do that shortly. I had the pleasure of having our interview for Stoop Sound Sessions led by a prayer from you. So now that you're here on the Mirage Pod, I was hoping you'd allow me to lead in a prayer to Goddess Divine, to Universe, to the Creator. Gratitude overflows from within us. We are so grateful for the opportunities that you've allowed us, but also for bringing us through the obstacles that we've had to go through and overcome in order to bring us to this day.
you.
Love surrounds us, and I just want to say that this conversation, the energy that we are about to exchange, is divinely ordained and orchestrated, and for that we are thankful. So we continue on through this conversation, honoring those that have come before us and those that are the reason that we are here. Amen and Ashe.
I say, I know, thank you. Yeah.
I'm so excited right now. I'm so happy.
Oh, me too. I'm really glad, like, you hit me up and, like, allowed me to be in the space with you. So,
Your humility is just I noticed again as I've gotten to learn more about you, but then because of Stoop Sounds and because of the Mirage podcast, I truly wanted to dive deep. I didn't want to just start these conversations and feel like, oh hey, nice to meet you. Cage, you say thank you. So every single opportunity that you have to express gratitude, you absolutely do it.
yes.
It seems as though you go out of your way. You have a lot going on, but you take the time to make sure that people see that you are grateful and that you are humbled by the support that you receive, by the love, by the sharing of your music and the exchanges that people have with you.
Yeah.
It I have a question, but I just realized let me let everyone know who's watching and listening. I have the pleasure of sitting with Cvgebird, the honor and the privilege of sitting with Cvgebird, not for the first time. Go check out Stoop Sound Sessions.
Yeah.
We touched the surface. We touched the surface in that interview.
Mm,
And I'm grateful that you wanted to sit down with me again so that we could take that conversation and really dissect it and open it up.
for sure.
Free to Trap released
Yes, yes, yes.
last week, and it
Mm,
has taken the internet by storm.
gratitude.
Free to Trap, everyone needs to go check it out. We'll talk about that before this conversation is over as well. But Selina Carrera, Cvgebird, thank you so much for sitting with me today.
No doubt. Thank you for having me. Seriously. Thank you for wanting me to be on the show.
You're more than welcome. So, what I was about to ask about gratitude,
Mm.
are there people in your life or circumstances in your life that have taken place that really infuse that gratitude in you and make it something so important to express?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, I feel like no one has to support me, right? No one
Mm,
has to repost or share or, even have gratitude for my existence. So when people do that, it really means a lot to me because I'm very passionate about what I do and I really take my mission and my integrity seriously. And also, I just like to give flowers to folks while they're here.
amen.
Like I think a lot of times as people will give people flowers once they're gone, or
Right.
be busy and things like that. And I think life has taught me through loss of, loved ones, if I lost them to the prison system, or if I lost them, if they transitioned on to another life,
Mm,
it's taught me. And just, losing people going their separate ways. It's just
yeah.
taught me to have gratitude for those that come through. Never taking support or, someone else, what they see in me for granted. You know,
Mm,
because people die every day, and I want to be able to express that gratitude while I'm still here.
amen. Amen. That has come up in a few conversations recently. The concept of, people that say life is short. That's become a somewhat taboo or cliche phrase that can easily go in one ear and out the other. And
Mm,
then something happens that rocks your world, and then we see something, a headline on social media that rocks our collective world, that brings to our attention, even though I'm blessed enough to be here in this moment, tomorrow could be the end for any of us.
yeah,
And I can't stand how, like, it's so existential. It's hard to grasp because we have the privilege of being here, of seeing the colors of life, the beauty of life, and so many people don't get that opportunity.
yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
that's
it's
very reflective.
yeah. I mean, it's even happened recently, right? Like, we just released Free the Trap.
Yeah.
We met on the 10th to do that amazing interview, and
Right.
literally that next week, someone that worked on the project with us
Right.
passed with COVID that I
Right.
had just seen a couple weeks. prior, prior before they contracted it.
Exactly.
So I feel like there's constant reminders of that. Like I think I just posted today on Instagram like I love to pour into people and show
Yes.
gratitude while they're here. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yes. And peaceful journey to David Walker and every spirit, every soul within Philadelphia and beyond Philadelphia that we know that he touched and impacted positively. One of my favorite things to say is to give people their flowers while they can smell them. So when you said that, I was just like, yes, you get it. You get it. And we've been saying since the day we met, like, yo, we get each other.
Yes, very
I
much.
would like to give you the flowers of saying, I acknowledge that you are a beautiful and multifaceted person. You are eccentric in all of the best ways. I feel as though you are capable of such a wide variety of things and of beliefs and of feelings. It's gorgeous to see from the outside, looking at you.
Thank
I want to say that because this conversation, I know we don't have too much time, but girl, when I tell you, there are 10 things on my mind that I want to talk about right now.
Let's
Whether they are related to your music and your artistry, or
mhm.
to your personal family relationships, or to your travels, because I know you've been multiple, like, there's so much I want to say. So I'm going to try to organize it
For sure.
and
And
get into it.
I could probably stay a little longer too. We started a little late, so I want to at least give us, you
No,
know,
but also, like I said, I want to respect your time. So, again, whenever you feel as though you have to get prepared to go, don't hesitate to let me know. Mm-hmm.
um,
So, where to start? Where to start? This podcast is about the things that we can't Google, the things that we can't find when we search your name or hear your music on, Spotify or Apple. So, for that reason, let's dive deeper, let's dig deeper, and I'd like to ask about your grandmother and the fact that you called her your best friend and you're going to spend a bunch of time with her this weekend coming up. Tell me a little bit about your experiences with your grandmother and things that have happened that have really solidified that relationship.
well, one, I honestly feel like me and my grandma have been traveling along this plane for centuries before this life.
Wow.
She's definitely a soulmate. She I don't even know. Like she helped raise me. When I wasn't living at home, when things happened in the house that I was in, she took me in. When I was homeless, she always had a place for me to stay. Always had a meal for me to eat. Always had words of wisdom to pour into me. And we always say like, we may not agree with each other all the time. We may go back and forth, but the love never changes between her and I. And we just have that kind of relationship. I lived
Mm-hmm.
with her from my childhood. I lived with her in my teenage years, my young adult life. She's always been my constant support, and the matriarch of our family, on my mother's side. So
Mm.
she's really an important figure in my life. And like I said, she's 96 years old.
What?
She's 96 years old. So for her to still be here, it's like I truly,
Wow.
truly value just spending as much time as possible. Like I feel bad because I haven't seen her for like 2 weeks. Even though we talk on the phone all the time, 2 weeks is a long time for us, and I know that's uncommon to hear nowadays. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm around her, she rejuvenates me. When I'm with her, I rejuvenate her, and it's just a flow between us that is very apparent between the both of us. I just say that you're my soulmate, you're my heart, you're my love, and it's beyond this life, and I honor that, and I honor her, and I'm just yeah, she's my best friend. You
That is beautiful. How about no? Why wasn't this on silent? Sorry.
No, you good.
I'm like, what in the world? A number I don't know and everything.
Don't be hating that happening. They calling me now, Montebello, California. I don't know where.
Wait, did that really just happen simultaneously?
They called you too, the same number?
No, I don't know if it was the same number, but I was just like, yo, what? Why is. Wait, did you just get a phone call?
Literally, I have mine on silent, but it's right now coming through.
Yo, okay, so
But
wow, this is dope. This is dope though. My spiritual mentor. See, this is what happens, Cage, when where two are gathered. The shirt that I'm wearing right now belongs to my spiritual mentor who plays the role of a grandmother in my life right now. And I was like, let me put this shirt on for this interview. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I put it on. We had our prayer. That is my first time opening a podcast interview with prayer.
that's it.
And the same mentor to me that owned this shirt, she taught me that when a bell rings, She says that when a bell rings, the truth is being told. So we'll have sessions, we'll sit with each other for hours, and
Yeah.
she'll be teaching me something. We'll have books open, and she'll go, now you see this here, this means that, and she'll be talking, and then like the phone will ring, and she'll be like, look at that. You hear me telling the truth? I'm telling
Wow.
the truth. So
Right.
the fact that that was a simultaneous phone call is crazy.
That's wild, yo. Wow.
Yo, I love it. That's
Yeah.
real. That is, if that is not a personification of the energy we're exchanging, I don't know what is.
Right, right.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And I wanted to share that I relate and completely understand the love that you have for your grandmother. The most impactful relationship that I have had to date has been with a grandfather of mine that was not even blood related. And your words just now reminded me of a time where he was expressing to me he he was in his early 80s, and I think I had taken him to a chiropractor's appointment or something, and we were in the car together, and he goes, I just want to let you know, I need you. I need you. And it was one of those moments where I realized, does he know how much I need him? He probably doesn't. He's probably assuming that because of his age or not being able to drive anymore and things of that nature, that he's the only one that needs somebody here. He has no idea that every fiber of who I am has been solidified because of conversations with him. You
That-
know what I mean? And I tried to reciprocate. I'm like, no, no, I need you. And he's probably like, no, you don't. You can drive. You can this, you can that. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Yes, I
right.
do.
I need you. No, I completely resonate with that. I think my grandma similarly, she's just like, oh, I just need you. And I'm like, I need you too. Like, I
Yeah.
love you, and I honor her. And I feel like I can't speak of her without also speaking of my father's mother and father, my grandparents. They
Yes.
passed away when I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anytime I look at their pictures or I speak of them, it's like, even right now, I could just feel their presence in their energy,
Yeah.
and I feel like if they lived, my grandma passed when I was 6 years old. My abuelito, he passed when I was a bit older.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like if we had more time to build, I probably
Mm-hmm.
would have been just as close with them. Um,
Yes.
but I'm grateful that I can share that with my living, ancestors,
Yes.
and honor the ancestors that are still around me, just not in the physical form.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something else I wanted to speak on today. Your spirituality, your spiritual beliefs. While they may not be here physically, your father's parents, what you believe and the way that you move through your spirituality says to me that you've absolutely connected with them before, or that you remain connected with them and to them, that you've most likely heard from them, felt guided by them.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask today what some of your spiritual influences have been, whether growing up, whether just recently, no matter the timing. What are some of the things that have influenced what you believe?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, my father grew up Catholic. I grew up in a Christian household,
Mm-hmm.
but as I got older, especially like being a queer mixed kid, I
Yeah.
think church was very violent for me in
Mm-hmm.
different ways. You know, I believe that the intention of maybe the biblical Bible itself may have not intended to be that way, but
Yeah.
being written by man so many different times,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in there that I feel like spirit is just like, ah, I don't know if that's,
Yeah. What's
you
happening
know,
here? Mm-hmm.
yeah, what's happening here? I remember one time my pop, like, he sent me a scripture one time, and I guess he was trying to like save me, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And it was talking about homosexuality. And in the verse, it was like, oh, it was this like angel or whatever that came and was staying with this dude. This is Old Testament, and a bunch of men came to the house and they were like knocking on the door and trying to like get the angel out, right? That had came in male in physical form, and they wanted to like rape him and do all these horrible things to him. And then the dude was like, "No, you can't take him. This is an angel. Take my daughter instead." And I was just like, wait a minute. So he gave him his daughter to do with what they want, and it just stuff like that just felt weird in my spirit, right?
Yes.
And there's no disrespect to the religion, it's no
Right.
disrespect to anyone's beliefs, but I think it is what propelled me to go on my own spiritual journey and spiritual path. And being I'm a mixed kid. I'm a mixed kid of the diaspora. My father is Afro Latino. My mother, she's indigenous Latinx, and it allowed me to kind of dig deeper into my roots and into my indigenous and like Aboriginal spiritual practices.
Yeah.
and it's something I connected with a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so I think like at this point in my life, I have influence from different religions,
Yeah.
and I honor all religions. I think whatever your religion is cool as long as there's a spiritual practice. But I think
Right.
I'm way more spiritual than I am religious. And when I pray to my ancestors. I pray to the Creator. I pray to the angels that are with me. I pray to all. I basically say like all spirit that is there for my greatest good.
Amen.
I
Yes.
call on them. And
Beautiful.
when I do that and I'm really intentional with my prayers, there's so many messages and so many signs that are just right there. I can even tell you it could be from like I'm running late and I need to find something, and because I tend to move around a lot quickly, I misplace things a lot. And I'll say a prayer like, Divine, please, Creator, please, Spirit, please help me find this. Da, 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 I gotta go.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, that's so petty. Like, whatever.
You could ask them for help with any other thing.
Right. I'm at, but literally, son in me will be like, look over here, and I'll look
Yep.
there. Or if I'm asking for a guide about a conversation, or if something doesn't feel right in my spirit, it's
Yes.
like I feel like that's my intuition, that's my creator trying to tell me something, and
Yeah.
it's up to us not to get in our own way and to trust that.
Absolutely.
And I do got to say too, I think I had to learn the difference between my intuition and my trauma, right? Because I think a lot of
Mm.
times intuition can be influenced by trauma or paranoia or,
Wow.
things that are still broken within us. So I had to make a really clear intention to heal and to hear and to have discernment between what's my intuition and what am I just trying to tell myself to
Wow.
validate how I'm feeling.
I have never heard that particular comparison and connection before. What was your intuition and what was your trauma? Whoa. Are there any traumas that you've experienced that define who you are, that you've gone through,
Well,
that you wouldn't mind sharing with us in an effort to connect with someone that may be experiencing that same thing and need to be inspired and encouraged by you?
yeah. Well, I'd say I don't think my traumas define me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been through a lot of different traumas, but I want to say that I'm defined by them traumas. I'm defined by who I was before that trauma. And
Wow. Yeah.
I had to work through those traumas to get back to self and be
Mm.
grateful for what I went through, for what it taught me, and the wisdom that
Yes.
helped shape my journey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, some of those things, not to dive too deep into them, but I've, dealt with sexual molestation. I've dealt with being a queer kid in a Christian household, um, being not homelessness. I've dealt with, growing up in the hood and the things and the plates that come with that, gun
Right.
violence at a young age, losing folks to the prison system, losing myself, in a lot of different ways. So, you know, abandonment issues, rejection issues, not being told who I was a problem, or that it was a
Mm.
choice, or things like that. And also just the plight of being a person of color trying to move around in this world. And, the things that come with that. So there's, not to get too deep into them, but
Right.
there's a lot of different, I think, lessons and guides, that we go through. But I've learned, there's this quote that I run with my kids. I work with incarcerated youth here in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And one quote I love that I bring is this Rumi quote. And I might not say it exactly to the quote at this moment, but I
You're
know
fine.
the quote is like, when you've turned the last corner and you've run into yourself, you've turned all the corners that are left.
Mm.
And I think for a while we run away from our trauma and we run away from the things that um, we're not maybe ready to face, and that's okay. But when we are ready to run into ourselves and to face that shadow work, I think it allows us to
Mm.
really break free, and recenter and allow you not to be defined by that trauma,
Right.
but to be grateful for the lessons and the discernment that it may have brought you.
Amen. And on the podcast here, our mission is always to uplift, encourage, inspire, motivate, enlighten. So while you don't need to go deeply into, the intricacies of your experiences, anyone listening will hear you say, you gave us a list of what you've been through. And then they'll see who you are. They'll see how brightly you're shining now. They'll go listen to your music and your lyricism. They will go listen or go see the images that you've put forth, the artistry that you've put forth. And even though you don't need to dive deep right now, it will be so clear, that you have broken out of a certain shell that you may have been put into in the past, or that you have grown beyond the things that you've experienced in the past, and you're now walking, with your head held high and in your most authentic self. So
Yeah. And
that
you know,
definitely speaks for itself.
yeah, thank you. And you know, it's a
Mm-hmm.
journey because it's not to say that things don't still come up, right?
Right.
Like things come up all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's learning those different skills to work through those things when they come up.
Mm.
Do all that. Like I've been lied on by people. I got set up by one of my best friends before in life. Like back in
Wow.
the day when I used to, do what I had
Yeah.
to survive and those things like that. And trust was really hard for me. Trust is still, I think, hard for me to this day. But
Wow.
going to therapy, and I think therapy is a stigma that really needs to be. I think in
Mm-hmm.
these therapy is like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't need to go to therapy. Like I'm good. White people go to therapy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the more I love to see more of like there's a lot of like black and brown communities that are now like, yo, mental health is dope. Like
Yeah.
therapy is great. And I'm definitely a therapy advocate. And I think, I want to say about 3.5 years ago, um, I got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I need therapy. Like, I don't know how to work through this. I'm drowning,
Wow. Wow.
and I'm drowning in my hurt. And
Mm.
I just reached out, and I think that's the hardest part sometimes is admitting that you're not okay and knowing that that's okay.
Mm.
And being able to go to therapy and have a space where I could kind of dive into it. And therapy is like dating, you got to find the right person.
Right.
But I love my therapist. Like, we have such a good relationship, and she has allowed me to um, navigate through a lot of things and,
Yeah.
you know, heal my trauma or at least notice when I'm being triggered or traumatized or like
Right.
something's coming up so I could be like, all right, let me take
Mm.
a deep breath, let me step back and look through it. Because
Mm.
I don't want folks to think that like I'm not perfect by any means.
Right.
And I think we're all work in progress. But I think the point is to progress.
Yeah.
And if you're progressing and not digressing, like you're on the right path.
Right. Right. And even if it's the tiniest eensy weensy baby steps,
Yes.
just moving forward in any way, shape, or form
Yes.
is what's important. Is what we're aiming for here.
Absolutely.
So you spoke of the incarcerated youth that you teach,
I
that
do.
you influence, that you impact positively.
I can only.
When did you start doing that?
I actually started doing that. I mean, I feel like I've been working in the community
Mm-hmm.
when I was like 16. I started, or maybe like 17. I started working with Freedom School in Philadelphia, and I was like a junior servant leader, and that really like opened my mind to a lot of
Mm.
things that I wasn't exposed to as a kid, just because those resources weren't really around us.
Right. Right.
But I started working with incarcerated youth in 2021. I want to say like 2015
Wow.
when I really started. I'm sorry, let me fix this later. I really
Okay.
started working with them heavy, and I started that work in California. Working with some really dope nonprofits. They would allow me to come in as not a teacher, but just like a teaching artist.
Wow. Yeah.
And I come in with like a portable recording studio. We break down some quotes. We listen to some music, break down some lyrics. Get some writing,
What?
and it would be so amazing. It would just be like a studio session with the kids, and it was so. I fell in love with the work, and I'm grateful that I didn't get in my own way because I think we all have an idea of like, oh, by the time I'm 18, I'm gonna be moved out my mama house. By the time
Right.
I'm, 25, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be famous. By the time I'm whatever age, I'm gonna have all this going on, right? And I think sometimes it's like we have our own idea, and then
Right.
divine has your path, right?
Right.
And I realized doing this work, I was like, man, this is the most important stage for me to be on.
Mm.
Just realizing what like channels through, and I can't really explain it. And
Wow.
I think there's certain teaching artists or certain folks that I think can really reach that. From spoken word poetry to music. If you have that ability, it's such important work. And I'll never forget like the first time I went into a placement, I was with another teaching artist and getting trained, and like I don't know if we touched on this, but basically like there was a fight about to break out. Somebody was dissing somebody else's hood. we like in the class by ourselves, and I'm like, oh, it's about to get crazy. And son of me was like, sing, and I sang, and by the time I don't really even know, I was just freestyling whatever was
Wow.
through. And by the time I was done, the two gentlemen that were like having an issue, they like shook hands. They were cool. They said they, it's all love, whatever. And we turned that into a workshop in itself. And then for me, I was like, wow, like this is healing. Like this is the real work. And
Mm.
God created a way, divine created a way for me to bring that back here to my home city, and I'm just grateful to be in the work. And I will say, sometimes it's just planting a seed. If
Yes.
kids are in certain plights and kids are in certain survival modes, I don't judge them because I know that the system was set up for them to fail.
Mm.
I'm not going to judge someone that fell into the trap of the trap, right?
Right. Right.
So all I can do, or all I try to do, is just plant the seeds that I hope grow later and that I hope keeps getting watered along the path.
Wow. People sometimes don't realize what music and artistry as a whole, like you said, whether it be spoken word, whether it be painting, whether it be singing, whether it be producing music, people don't realize that there is a totally separate and unique aspect of a person's brain and spirit that these things tap into. This is why it's art.
Yeah.
That is such powerful work that you're doing. And the fact that you sang in order to mitigate a situation and that was like your first day there. If that's not a sign, I don't know what it is. Like,
Man, I had to do it today.
really?
Like I walked in, so over
Wow.
here in Philly, I'm more on like the school district side and allowed me to go into like teaching as well
Okay.
as doing the creative writing and socio-emotional transformative work.
Wow.
It's very focused on at my center. And today, I got done like working with one of my kids or a few of my class. I was like going into another class just to say what's up to a teacher, and one of the kids was like, "Hey, yo, miss, come through, come through." I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to, I don't want to like, you got a teacher. I don't want to like disrupt." And I guess the teachers sometimes they'll have a harder time. I'm a little younger. I just kind of fly.
Mm-hmm. 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 Right.
To me in ways. So they're like, no, no, please, Miss Claire, please come in, And I'm like, all right, what's up?
Wow.
They're like, hey, yo, Miss, can you sing that neighborhood song? Yo, you're gonna show us Free to Trap? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And it's just wild. Like I get chills. One of my kids, well, let me finish the first story, but
Go ahead.
they wound up having me perform. I'm like, damn, y'all gonna have me perform on the spot? All right, let's go. I show them Free to Trap, and a lot of the kids are like, "Yo, that's up Lehigh. That's right down the street from me." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, our neighborhood is beautiful. Like, and we don't often see our neighborhoods being celebrated in such
Wow.
powerful ways and important
Mm.
ways." And so, for my kids that are incarcerated to see the neighborhood and to see the beauty through the lens of the video and connect everything, right? And for them to be like, "Oh, Miss, sing that neighborhood song," and I'm speaking to a lot of the experiences from my own experience, and them being able to relate and see like you said, for them to see the transformation in real time.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it's powerful, and to the point you said of like art and music has always been our revolutionary joy. It's been such an intricate part of our struggles and movement,
Yeah.
different in so many different intersections, right? Or
Yes.
ways that they intersect. And with my kids, I was like kicking it with another unit yesterday because it's all different units. And one of my guys was like, "Hey, on this, I forgot to tell you, we was upstairs, because they live there, they stay there, it's a placement. And then like we was upstairs, like cleaning the pot, and I just started this song came in my head. I was just like, "Free the trap, free the trap." And then the other kid was like, "Yeah, we just started singing Free the Trap and dancing." And of course I love that, but the deeper meaning is they're in lockup saying Free the Trap. I hope the exit is joyful. Flying on spaceships, destined for greatness. Mama, we made it. No more gang banging. Like they're speaking affirmations in the jails that they aren't that it's not supposed to exist in.
I got butterflies in my stomach.
I get chills thinking about it sometimes, and I'm just so passionate about this work. And I know a lot of times they'll look at me as a pope, but it's like there's no saviors, right? So I'm like, be inspired by me, but know that you are the
Yes.
key to unlock yourself. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to support you, but you are the savior for yourself. I'm just here as a support, and I don't want to give the message of like, oh, I'm saving the hood. No, 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 no,
Mm-mm.
no. Like, I'm here to,
But you're doing the work.
yeah,
You are doing the work that so many people are sometimes afraid of doing, sometimes too insecure to do, sometimes don't have the resources or the support to do. The list goes on.
Yeah, and I think it's like the stigma of prison, right? Like, I had to check myself the first time I went into a jail because I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if somebody's gonna try and stab me. We often criminalize those that are criminalized, right? And we
Mm.
have a tendency to throw them away. And I think when I first went into the jail, it really I had a realization of I had to check myself and my own conditioning because they're everyday kids.
Yeah.
They, they remind me of myself when I was
Yeah.
their age, and I can't even get into the girls. I love, like, the girls are so amazing and they're
Yeah.
just, I got to put them on to my homies, Free Soul and Lava. I don't know if you know
Mm-hmm.
what Free Soul and Lava
Yes,
are,
absolutely. Yep.
but they just dropped a track called Uncvged, which
Mm-hmm.
means health, prosperity, wealth. And I'm doing a workshop with the kids, and I'm like, oh, the homies just dropped this track, it's fire. And I'm like, oh, let's hear it. I'm like, all right. And I throw it on, and like a whole unit is chanting Uncle Josh and Ed, and another unit
Wow.
is chanting Free the Trap, and like it's creating revolutionary joy in a way kids may not even understand yet,
Right.
and it's such powerful work, and it's like, yo, if we can make sure we're digesting these type of messages, right,
Right.
and calling in these things to our spirit, they're gonna be protected and things are gonna shift for them that they don't even realize why and when they're shifting.
Amen. Manifesting.
Yeah, man.
Manifesting and the use of mantras and
Yeah.
prayer. Wow. And they don't even realize it. Like they don't. But
Yeah.
not only do they not realize it, then they have a spirit like yours that's there to tell them, to show them, to guide them if they allow you to.
Yeah.
You have so much purpose. So much purpose.
Thank you.
I'm floored. So what led you to California?
Man, I was trying to get out of Philly.
Yep. Yep.
I'm not even going front. Well, no, seriously, what led me out there is I went to Temple University,
Mhm.
and I happened to like get done my credits a semester early, but I still had an extra semester. And a
Nice.
friend of mine was like, Lena, like, let's go to they got the LA Study Away program. Let's do it.
Nice.
I was like, I don't know. I got to see if I can afford it. And, applied for some scholarships, things came through and kind of lined up. And I've always wanted to go out there. I just felt like I was always called to it. Like, it feels like it's an island, but it's still in the States, so to speak. So it
Right.
feels a little more like home. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's what led me out there. And then when I got out there, the Capricorn in me just took over on the hustle tip and just worked really hard and tried to make some things happen. And by God's grace, everything worked out for me to stay there a little longer.
I am so happy you just mentioned being a Capricorn. You're a Capricorn?
I'm a Capricornarius, so I'm on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn.
Nice. Okay. Do you know your moon sign and your rising and all that stuff too?
Yeah,
Talk to me, cause I'm so glad you brought it up, cause it was taking everything in me not to be like, all right, girl, what time you was born? Let's see, because that's what I
that's
wanted to
so
do.
funny.
Look, these are the books that are literally sitting next to me
Yes,
right now. Like,
you on it.
whoo, girl.
So my birthday is December 23rd.
Nice.
So technically it's in Capricorn, but it's in the cusp of Sagittarius as well.
Absolutely.
So that's my sun sign. My moon is Virgo. My rising is Libra, and my Venus is Scorpio. And that's all I know.
That Virgo moon, though.
She is intense. She is intense.
Your artistry, your attention to detail within your artistry. Your dedication to your artistry, your passion for what you do. Woo, girl.
Yeah. Yep. That's me.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's what led you to California, and the reason that I wanted to bring up California, I did want to slowly but surely segue into Cvgebird, the artist, the musician, the singer, the poet, the lyricist. Neighborhood. Can I just say, okay? Again, everybody, please go check out the acoustic performance of this song on Stoop Sound Sessions.
Yes.
Find it on YouTube, find it on Instagram, find it wherever you need to find it. Cage, that song has been stuck in my head for 3 weeks since we met. Since we
Let's
met and I
go.
heard the song. It was stuck immediately, okay? I was on set going, my neighborhood. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's still here. Let me, yo. Beautiful song. Beautifully written. You are so gifted, okay? And I wanted to bring up California as a means to also bring up neighborhood and just start speaking on the things that you've achieved musically. So, the writing of that song, the circumstance of that song happened while you were out there pursuing, like, you were there studying abroad for Temple University?
Yeah, well, this was after my semester had ended.
Okay. And you had stayed there after the semester?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay, okay.
I found a job. I was working for one of the nonprofit I used to work for, going into the placements and stuff like that. They had offered me a position, allowed me to stay full time.
Wonderful.
I finessed some plugs and found me a cheap stay at a at a house that it was like a shared house, but it was
Yeah.
dumb cheap for LA, like
Right.
unheardably cheap. I was just super grateful. But long story short, I was kicking it with a friend of mine, Bianca Brunson, amazing person, this beautiful soul. And we were walking around. She was playing her guitar. I was singing. I think we were trying to walk to the beach, and it was in a nicer neighborhood or whatever. And we're walking along. There's people sitting outside eating their food or whatever, and people just kept like I don't know, just looking at us or what have you. And police started to kind of like circle the block and things like that. And they, pretty much the lyrics in the song is a
Yeah.
lot of what occurred. And I think around that time too, Sandra Bland had just got killed. There was a lot of things of that nature going on. So I think I had a lot of like channeling
Mm-hmm.
that was coming through. My homegirl started playing her guitar, and as the police was looking and all that stuff was going on, I just started singing, and I was freestyling, and that song started to live. And the person that we were walking with happened to have their voice recorder on their iPhone and was able to capture it, so I could remember the lyrics. And that's how that sound came about, from a
Jeez.
police interaction, us fitting some type of description or being a disturbance in the neighborhood, and just living it out. I
And
mean,
that's what I was just thinking. Like, I didn't have that detail before. So it was essentially the residents of that neighborhood that called you guys in as a disturbance?
I still don't know to this day.
Okay, okay.
I really don't know to this day. I just
Right.
know that like we were getting looked at and people were looking at us as if we were a disturbance, and then police came and was like, "Oh, Lizzie, blah blah, and it was just like really like we out here walking with a guitar to the beach. Like, what you think we stole this guitar? I steal the flannel I was wearing. Like, it was just so blatantly, you're being a disturbance to white people, and
Jesus.
we need y'all to get out. And not to call a spade, but that's really like what it was.
Yeah.
And it's just reminding me that that wasn't my first running with the police over something stupid or dumb, and things like growing up in the neighborhood in Philly, like growing up over in the lands, we're constantly policed by people that are not in our neighborhood, and I think all that stuff was just coming up at the time, and a way for me to channel that anger through in a way that served me was to freestyle sing as we were walking away or as we were just going
The
further
same
down
way
the
you freestyle sang while you were in the room where there was a fight about to happen, your voice performs magic. Like, oh my goodness.
I still don't
Y'all,
record that song. The
you
only
have not recorded Neighborhood?
the only living recording I've copywritten the lyrics and
Yes,
stuff
yes, yes.
and the melody, of course, but the only living recording is from Stoop Cells.
Beautiful. Well, on behalf of Stoop Sounds, we are grateful for
Absolutely.
the gift that you have given. She said, "Who's policing police when they police me?"
Me.
I can't
I'm just
say,
trying to make it to my family. I'm just trying
I cannot say that line out loud without like getting up in arms, like reacting, almost like I'm on the verge of tears. It's so poetically written and it's just so stupid real.
yeah.
Who? Okay, we're not going to make this conversation about this because we'd be here forever and ever and ever. But again, like I said in the prayer that we opened with, grateful for the obstacles that we have been brought through, that have made us stronger, that have also turned us into exactly who we are today. Who is Cvgebird without the beautiful lyricism that you use to write about your experiences and in turn touch millions of people? In your bio, you say that you use music as an effort to kind of escape from certain aspects of reality as well as record what is happening in your reality. In Haya, you say keep that negativity, my G. Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to know about the transition, the strength that you have had to build. Because it takes time to believe in yourself and be strong enough to say, I'm not going to subscribe to this anymore. Even though you are my family members, even though this is my job that pays my bills, even though these are my friends since kindergarten,
But
it takes a certain type of strength to say, I now have to exit. I now have to escape.
yeah,
What would you say to people that need to build the courage to do that, to be more specific, to be more purposeful in the energy and the company that they keep?
I think that it comes to a point where you have to know your own self-worth.
Mm, mm,
You know, and when I look back on my life, I think growing up in certain environments, you have no choice but to build a level of resiliency, right, and build a level of strength. Um, I always had like a very loving like family environment, but the environment that I was in wasn't always loving, right?
mm,
And not only that, although I was in a loving family environment, because I was a queer, mixed kid, the first person in my family really to come out as such. Um, it was really difficult for my family to see me or love me through that without um, trying to beat the gay out of me and
mm,
things like that that we sometimes see in our culture. And I think looking back on it, I think my father and I we had to work through a lot of things. And I think if I'm being compassionate and just trying to put myself in his shoes, I think for him as a Black and Indigenous Puerto Rican man
mm,
and dealing with the things that he had to deal with in this country and the way that this country threw him away and
mm,
the way the police beat him up to the point we couldn't even recognize him and the way that he had to really struggle to get to where he needed to be. I think that when I was outed, because I didn't really even get a chance to come out. I was like 15, 16. And I think for him, he was scared for me. I think he was scared, like, yo,
mm,
you're already a woman, you're already a person of color, and now you're going to be gay on top of that. This girl's going to chew you up and throw you out. And I think I had to learn to forgive him, on one thing, and learn to have some compassion and try to see it from both angles to get to that level of forgiveness because it was definitely very rough growing up. And I think, like I said, life will force you to build a level of resiliency and strength at a very early age for you to become the person you need to become. I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, yo, you've been through mad stuff at such a young age. You're resilient as ever.
mm.
Like, if you can work through yourself and get out of your own way, there's nothing that you can't do. And to get back to the point, because I feel like I'm going somewhere else,
You're fine.
like I think I had to realize my worth. I think it was around the time I was young and like I said, I was making some moves, just trying to do what I had to do. And one of my best friends from high school, I think, started to hate because I was kind of moving up in. I come from a line of hustlers. I guess I could put it like
Mm,
that. So when I was kind of moving up in my rank, somebody was hating on me and tried to set me up. And I'm glad that I'm still here. And I think when I had that experience, along with some other experiences at that time with people that I still love to this day,
yeah.
but they weren't serving being in my life anymore. I had to really pull into my own self. Like at that point, it was like I was the only one that was there for me. And there was nights I remember like crying and just crying and like I felt like I was being held and someone was holding me, and then opening my eyes and realizing that I'm holding myself. And I think that's when I realized, like, yo, everything
Wow.
is okay, even when it's not okay. If no one else
Yeah.
is here for me, I'm here for you, and I love you. And I learned to just resiliently love myself. I had to. I had to love myself. And again, I had to realize my worth. And I think it's still a work in progress, right? Like,
Yes.
you might find yourself in a toxic relationship because you don't think you're worth any better, or that just to have someone around you is enough, when you might deserve or need something else so you can fully show up as yourself. And I think the more I realize my worth and the more I realize my purpose and the more I realize the way that divine has chosen to use me humbly,
Yeah.
I have to move differently. I have to separate myself from certain people. I have to give up certain things. Like I don't want to poison my community. I don't want to smoke weed anymore. Like because I'm not clear, and I have to be clear, and I have to be conscious. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm not trying to, shame anyone. Like do what you got to do to get through what you need to get through. But I think at a certain point, we all come to a place where you have to choose yourself over your vices, or you have to choose yourself and run into yourself. So you don't have to numb out yourself. You don't have to numb out
Wow.
certain things. You can work through it. And I had to realize my worth, and I think I'm still realizing that every single day. I'm so grateful I'm here. I'm so grateful to have life. When my life probably should have ended 5 or 6 or 7 times before right now in this moment. And I think about my friends that aren't here, the ones that passed on, the ones that, died very tragic deaths because of the struggle, because of the violence, because our folks don't realize their worth, and the system is designed to do that. So, I said, I'm not living just for me. I'm not here just for my own journey. I'm living for all those people that are living for me now.
I myself, as well as so many other people, are so grateful for your presence, for the way that you walk in your spirit, for the way that you speak from your spirit. And one of the things that jumped out at me as you were speaking, when you were mentioning when you were holding yourself, crying. So many people break under the type of pressure that you have been under. In those moments where you were holding yourself and crying and just reacting and responding to your experiences, there are so many people that break because they don't know who to turn to, what to turn to, how to find themselves, love themselves, and support themselves. So, I, as well as so many other people, we're so grateful that you did find the strength and resiliency that you did. And I also want to repeat what you said about therapy being so important and say to, our platform, our audience, our listeners and viewers that it's okay. Do it. Do it because the end result is inevitably going to be something that brings you out of what you feel like you're drowning in right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to drown. You deserve not to drown. You deserve to come to the surface and be able to take a deep breath of fresh air. And therapy will absolutely help you do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for repeating that and saying that. And also, just to, I guess, be clear, there has definitely been times when I've broken. I've definitely broken under pressure.
Mm,
And if it wasn't for the support team around me, really being like my grandma and my mom and my
yeah.
dad, like if it wasn't for those four people, and sometimes it's chosen family too, right? If
Yeah.
folks don't have family members around them. There's definitely times where I didn't have my family around me. That took a lot of work to even reach the relationships I have with my mom and dad now. Um, at times it was chosen family that held me when I was broken, or like I said, myself.
Yeah.
Um, but just to be clear, there's definitely been times when I've broken completely, and I think it was in that brokenness that allowed me to find myself, especially that image that I talked about of just holding myself.
Yeah.
Uh, that's when I realized if no one else is here, I'm here, and it took breaking to do that. You know,
Yeah.
and I think yes, therapy is absolutely necessary. Spiritual practice is absolutely necessary. You know, don't be afraid to improve on yourself because all therapy is going to do is help you become better at you.
Amen. And if you don't think that you deserve to be better, please listen to this podcast. Please listen to the words of Cvgebird. You absolutely deserve to become that better version of yourself. Yes, it will take time. Yes, it will take work and it won't happen overnight. But you deserve to go through that process and
Definitely.
take those baby steps that we mentioned.
Yeah,
I know we have to wrap soon,
okay.
but I want to wrap by asking this.
Yeah.
So, would you say that Haya was your first single? I know that was released in 2018.
Yes, it really was. And I'm so glad you asked that because there's something I wanted to mention too. Sometimes taking a step ahead is taking a step back, right?
Mm, mm-hmm,
And I say that to say when I moved back to Philly in at the end of 2017,
mm-hmm.
it felt like, oh my God, I should be out in Cali right now. Like everything was,
Oh,
why did I come back? And I'm grateful, and it all makes sense and it's clear to me now. But Cvgebird actually birthed by me coming back to Philly. Like Cvgebird, the whole project manifested itself in January 2018. I had just moved back to Philly, like I said. I was in the hot, like I had caught like the double strand of the flu that was really bad that
Oh,
year.
geez.
I've spent like 2 weeks in the hospital at that time. I went through like a really hard breakup with someone also at that time. So I was just getting hit on like every angle.
Wow. Yeah.
And sometimes the way my body responds is when I'm going through stress is, my immune system will just deplete. And long story short, I was in the hospital. I was going through it. I was quarantined, and my producer friend or my producer Rock Bean,
Yes.
these tracks, and like I told him what I was going through, and he was like, "Yo, like we need to create. Like here you go." And those songs really came out of cathartism, just
Wow.
and I say like Cvgebird is because like sometimes the only joy I had was coming through song, and my art has saved me so many times. And Higher was that song that I was like, I know I went through all of these things, I'm going through these changes, and I just want to reach higher. Like I don't want to be negative. Like keep that negativity, my G, because we way up. Like
Yes.
I don't want to be surrounded by that. Like I want to elevate. And Higher was definitely the first single from the Cvgebird project that birthed in January 2018. And had I stayed in Cali, I probably would have never became Cage.
Would that have happened? And
Yeah,
then when you say like you speak about how you had been sick, you had been in the hospital, you had been quarantined, you had gone through a breakup, you had come back from LA and felt like you should have been out there and things like that. It makes me think of our previous conversation and it makes me want to dissect the Free to Trap lyrics. Your body, whether it be the physical body or even the emotional or mental body,
yes.
may have felt like a cage and you exited that cage through song as well.
Mhm.
You know, you worked your way out of what your physical body was going through and you helped music helped pass the time as you did that. Music helped pass the time going through grieving the breakup. Like,
So much.
yes, Cvgebird. And
Yeah.
thank you for that insight. Did not have those details. I
Yeah.
did not.
Hey, this is the stuff you can't Google, right? So
Yo, for
no one knows.
real.
Yeah,
That's
Cvgebird.
so powerful.
Yeah, Cvgebird birthed in the beginning of 2018, and had I not moved back to Philly,
Yeah.
that may have never happened. Had I not moved back to Philly, I may have not connected with the youth I've been able to. It's crazy. Like recently, I went back to LA, and I got up with one of my mentees that I met in lockup when he was 15 in Cali, and it's beautiful to see the way Justice has transcended. His name is Just Us Jones. He's an artist. He's an amazing soul. But in the same breath, I also got to connect with one of my first mentees. He was one of my first students in Philly and in lockup. And this kid is just so powerful. Both of them, I feel like I don't like to like be like, oh, that's like my son, because I don't
Right.
never
Yeah.
replace a mother's role.
Yeah.
I definitely felt very maternal about both of them, and I call both of them like my spirit sons.
Yes.
Like, they're my son in spirit. Some in another life form,
Your soul sons. Yes.
like
I
Justice
love
and
it.
Fudger. Oh my goodness, Fudger is amazing. He goes by Ether 9. They both had to be my spirit sons in another life because the way that we interconnected is just I can't even explain. But
Beautiful.
Fudger, I met him here at the Youth Study Center. Like I said, he's one of my first students, and literally I remember, and he remembers in class or just upstairs in their cells or in their pods, and just being like, "Yo, this is a moment. This is temporary. You're gonna be out of here. You are going to be completely free. You're gonna be living in Cali one day. You got the Cali vibe. Like you gonna be out there and living your best life and just flying free." And literally, like he got out, and not only did he get out, he like got off probation. He got off of probation and completely out the system the day before my first show back, and we got to have him
Wow.
come out and perform. And all the counselors and the teachers at the youth were in the crowd celebrating him amongst his family and
No
peers.
way.
It
Oh my
was
gosh.
so transformational. And I say all that to say, like, when I went back to Cali recently, I also went to visit Fajr, who is now living in Los Angeles, who is completely free, who just shot his first music video at the place we said he would be shooting his music video in Malibu. And we manifested and claimed all of this in one of the darkest places in jail. So anything, like that's why I say, like anything is possible.
Wow.
I'm really grateful to be in a position to do this work because it's a privilege and it's something that I don't take lightly. And like I said, had I gotten my own way and been like, nah, I'm gonna stay out here and pursue what I want to do
Girl.
third,
Wow.
I would have never been in a position to serve. like my creator, my purpose, my people, and I'm just grateful.
Look at that.
I'm just grateful. The Free the Trap tour is going to be coming. I'm calling it in. I'm manifesting
Yep.
it. I want to take my mentees with me and going on tour, and we're going to free the trap across the map.
Listen, Rock, listen to me right now, okay? That beat right there, that beat
Right.
right there.
And he produced
Girl.
Kanye. He produced Free the Trap.
Right.
Like,
I mean, he's so gifted.
yes.
So, and it says so much about your spirit that you have had the opportunity, and the privilege and the honor to be connected to these other artists that are taking your artistry and just we're working together. We're making it happen. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
So beautiful. I love that you just told the story of the transformation of Ether, of Fudger. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
What does Selina Carrera give to the world? What place did Selina hold in the world 2018, 2017, okay, prior to this transformation for you? And then tell me what Cvgebird today, free to trap, what space does she hold in the world and what does she give to us? Tell me the difference between the two. What does that transformation look like?
Oh, dang, that's a good question. I don't even know if I know the answer yet.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the space that Selena Carrera holds is a very genuine and authentic space, a grounded space. I think, I went through a lot of things, and I went through a lot of things as Selena Carrera, and I still am Selena Carrera, and I think
Yes.
it's so weird to call myself in the third person.
Right.
I think like, what I hold is just a person or an individual. There's a lot of love and support and giving and pouring in. I definitely understand like my position. I don't take things personal, and I just try to pour into the people around me, the water to the seeds to grow.
Mm.
And I think and also too, I think I'm not afraid to feel my way out of things, so to speak. I think for a long time I would be very guarded and wear a mask and be extremely to hide myself or to hide what I was feeling. But I've grown, Selena Carrera, me, has grown to like just feel my way through things. And if I didn't allow myself to feel all of that pain and the things that I went through, Cvgebird had never been birthed, right? And I think what Cvgebird brings into the world is, that revolutionary joy, is the joy through song, is to remember your resilience, to remember you're powerful, is to remember that you are the key to unlock yourself. And I think, my artistry and being able to pour into that and believe in it. I've had people be like, why don't you still go by like Sika? Or why don't you still go by Selena Carrera or why Cvgebird? And I'm just like, because I wanted to, or because of what it represents. Why do you go by what you go by? That's your choice, right? You know what I mean? And with all that being said, it's cool, but I say that to say, like, to me, Cvgebird is the example of freeing your own self, realizing that you are the key to unlock, realizing that running into yourself and turning that last corner is the last corner that you need to fly free. And I'm just grateful to be in a position to open my wings and inspire others to do the same.
This interview needs no outro after everything you just said. I need to say nothing more. That was extremely self-explanatory. I know that you are seriously, positively impacting anyone that listens to your music, anyone that listens to interviews like this one. You deserve to be heard. You deserve all of the investment that you've received from the people that love and support you. And I thank you so much for your time and energy today. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did.
I really did. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we made time for this, and I like that you got the plants in the background. I
You
see
too. You too.
them.
This is Jim.
Hey, what's up, Jim? Growing over there? It's like, no.
Jim is named after Jim Carrey as the Grinch because he's the color of the Grinch.
I see it. I see it.
Jim Carrey's a favorite of mine. We're going to speak that I'm going to interview that man one day.
Oh, okay? Yeah, you're absolutely going to interview him. You're definitely going to interview Jim and everybody else. I'm going to call in. I'm going to get some funding and some investors to make sure that I could take the music and the tour and everything to an expansive level. What? We about to be rolling in.
It's happening. It's happening. The Free to Trap tour is about to be lit. You about to have multiple shows in multiple locations.
Ashe.
Okay.
Yes.
Ashe. Cage, I'm so grateful.
Same. Thank you for having me, Ava. I can't wait until we get to do this again.
Yes, I mean, oh my goodness. I'm gonna let you know when I come back to Philly. I want to know about all the shows. I'm
Yes.
there.
Okay.
So happy to be connected.
So,
And shout out to everybody that's listening and watching.
yeah.
Please go check out Frida Trap. That's Frida, like Frida Kahlo.
Yep.
Frida Trap. Cvge's latest project. You will not be disappointed. You will not regret it. Go check out Stoop Sound Sessions, which is the only place that you can go hear Neighborhood, which Cvge spoke on today. The Mirage Podcast. We are grateful for you, Cvge. Thanks so much.
Grateful for you too. Thank you for having me.